What's going on, boys and girls? It's your boy Tech Mr. Plummy back, and so first video of 2017, but I'm starting a new series which is called More to Know About Them. So what we're doing in this series is we're going to be taking a specific game and we're going to make a whole heap of different videos explaining the background of each character and give you an in-depth storyline about who they are so you can better get to know them. But the first episode in every season is going to be background information about the game and the current storyline of that game. So the first, we're going to be doing Overwatch. Now, Overwatch was created at the behest of the United Nations during the Omnic Crisis. A war against the robots was unlike any humanity has ever fought before, and no single country was successful holding its territory. But it has been observed that some soldiers and strategists were thriving in the new style of warfare. As the nations of Earth struggled against the Omnics, the UN pulled together their best soldiers and technologies to form an elite strike unit. Overwatch was that unit, consisting of scientists, soldiers, adventurers, and oddities, and was intended to carry out asymmetrical warfare against the Omnics. Gabriel Adele was one of the key architects of its formation, while command of the unit was given to Gabriel Reyes, a member of the Super Soldier program carried out by the United States. However, while Reyes was overall command, Overwatch's overall structure was molded by Jack Morrison, who molded the unit into a truly cohesive fighting force. The other founding members were Anna Amari, Liao, Reinhard Wilhelm, and Torbjorn Lindholm. Finding their strength, the Overwatch strike team targeted the Omnic's command and control protocols. After great sacrifice and heroism in a series of dangerous raids, they destroyed it all, rendering the Omnic armies inert, and they had saved the world and earned its adoration. For his services, Morrison was given the position of Overwatch's first official commander, while Reyes was passed over. After the post-Omnic crisis, also known as the Golden Age, Overwatch was transformed into an international peacekeeping force. Now resources and funding were given to the unit, giving it far-reaching global influences. Over the following decades, it helped to maintain peace, inspiring an era of exploration, innovation, and discovery. Its range of research including space exploration, medical research, and climatology. In this particular regard, a series of eco-watch points were established to monitor the planet's changing climate. Rogue Omnics, terrorism, warmongering dictations. None of them could stand for long against such a capable, dedicated force. Overwatch made global stability its goal, and the world was happy to have them. Overwatch grew into a global institution, and new agents were recruited. Those that grew upon the period are referred to as the Overwatch generation, as they were given a legion of heroes to look up to. For these children, Overwatch was a symbol of hope, and they were taught that they represented the best of humanity. Overwatch maintained a global communications network and possessed one of the most advanced armories on the planet. New agents were brought into the organization as existing ones retired. It carried out operations against terrorist group Talon and the ninja Shumadara clan. In the case of Aleda, to its knowledge, it successfully dismantled it. It took a militaristic approach to maintaining its peace, however, which generated some internal tension. 20 years after its founding, Overwatch was influence wound, and the organization came under suspicion of corruption and sedation. A series of allegations were made against the group, including negligence, resulting in high-profile mission failures, corruption, and mismanagement, weapon proliferation, human rights abuses, and more. Overwatch had a shortage of critics, even in its glory days. How many voices for severe restrictions on the agent's missions, insisting that such a powerful group of individuals needed careful oversight. Rumors of Black Ops missions carrying out tasks like assassination, kidnapping were dismissed by the publics of paranoid fantasies. But as time passed, criticism became harder to shrug off, and the agency seemed to be tone deaf to public concerns. controversial mission shook public outrage until it reached a further pitch, and some of Overwatch's most famous and celebrated agents were forced to retire in disgrace. Protests broke out, people claiming that Overwatch was the source of the world's turmoil. Years later, Olympia Shaw reflected that it had been the end of it. Many might have accepted these missteps as the unavoidable signs of aging, bloated bureaucracy, suffering under monolithic leadership that desperately needed a change in direction. The truth, however, was much darker. In the final years of Overwatch's existence, a top-secret division called Blackwatch was revealed. There were stories of assassination, coercion, kidnapping, torture, and worse. Governments called on the UN to shut down the aggressive, repeated violations of many countries' sovereignty. A special UN committee launched a lengthy and highly secretive investigation into the claims. As the UN investigation proceeded and public distress swelled, Overwatch's Swiss headquarters was destroyed in an apparent accident. Among the casualties were Morrison and Reyes. The UN steadfastly maintained that there was no foul play behind this event, but anonymous reports indicate that a rebellion tore the group apart from within. On one side was Morrison, determined to hold together the remains of Overwatch. On the other side was Reyes, whose agenda remains unknown to this day. A battle raged between these men deep within Overwatch's base. At some point, their fighting triggered an explosion on the destroyed facility, killing both of them and numerous others. Angela Ziegler, head of Overwatch's medical research, commented on the UN hearing that outcome was inevitable. Reyes and Morrison had drifted apart further and further as Reyes had remained bitter that Morrison had been given the position of field commander instead of him. The UN committee, coupled with the loss of its headquarters and key members, were the two death kneels and signed the end of Overwatch. In the wake of such an incident, little could remain hidden. The full transgression of Overwatch's shadow operation became known, and even the most ardent defenders inside the organization bowed to the truth and called for this dissolution. The United Nations could do nothing to shut down Overwatch. The group gave into the pressure, and it was eventually disbanded, 30 years after its founding, left in disgrace. Its agents now the target of derision and suspicion in the media. The Petros Act deemed any Overwatch activity illegal and liable to prosecution. Few people at that time doubted it was the right call. The world has never been more peaceful. The biggest threat of global stability and growth was, in many minds, Overwatch itself. In the 5 years since, mystery remains as to the nature of Overwatch's fall. Suspicions exist that someone took over it into its detriment. But since its end, the world has become a darker place. Tensions between humans and Omnic has never been higher. Local political leaders accuse certain corporations of using covert operations to persuade government officials into accepting exploited deals, and when that failed, of hiring mercenaries to enact more permanent solutions. Shadow organizations operated with impunity, often leaving a trail of dead civilians in their wake. Overwatch continued to be memorialized, and some former Overwatch members attempted to get back together. Overwatch bases were raided by a mysterious individual known as Soldier 76, who recovered technology and incapacitated but never killed. Those assigned to watch over the installations. Olympia Shaw, through anonymous contacts with the UN, was given the classified UN reports that detailed the true nature of the destruction of its headquarters, and the role Morrison and Reyes played within the blast. She concluded that Soldier 76 was indeed Jack Morrison. Talon operatives conducted a raid in the abandoned Westpoint Gibraltar, hoping to gain access to the Overwatch agent database. They were foiled by Winston, who initiated an agent recoil. Agent Lena Oxton immediately responded. The two went into the foil and attempted heist of Doomfist Gauntlet by Reaper and Widowmaker. It was the incident that made the last straw for the United Nations, as their actions had followed weeks of similar vigilante activities. The next day, the UN delivered its statement. The United Nations has not authorized any Overwatch operations. The organization charter remained revoked. Further questions were not met by hostility or silence. Governments across the world, ranging from Russia to the United Kingdom, have similar condemnations. In a poll conducted by Atlas News, most people expressed anger at the thought of Overwatch agents having gone rogue, but nearly 75% of the respondents answered that they were uncertain as to what Overwatch's return would mean for the world. Some of the Overwatch agents apparently reorganized themselves into a recognized unit. It was called in to protect Halfred Blitzbot as he came under attack by anti-Omnic forces. And there you have it, guys. That is the background information on what Overwatch is and where we're up to now. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like. If we can get 5 likes, I'll upload the next part of this, which will be a character in particular. But comment any suggestions for the next game I should do. And if you do like my content and enjoyed this, please subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.